Tom Bright, hello, welcome, sir. How are you?
All right, how are you?
All right, very good, thank you. Thanks for coming up to the Midlands, which is original home.
Always a pleasure.
Original home to come into some interviews today. We've been across Derby, BBC Radio. You've been across Burton Radio, doing all sorts of stuff. So thank you for making some time to drop in to do the Sonic Boom podcast with us.
I'm delighted to be here, and I'm delighted, super excited for the show that we've got coming up.
Yeah, so we've got a Pulse coming in on the 30th of May, which is going to happen at Burton Library, and we've really started to utilise that space for music in town, and it's a great space to do it, and we're really grateful for you to come and do some tunes for us. The event's called Pulse, and it's all about keeping the pulse of music going, through the year between our Sonic Boom festivals, and it's great that you're our first person to come and do it, which is amazing.
It's an honour.
I'd love to hear about kind of life growing up in Derby and playing music. You're from, say, Long Eaton originally, and
from Little Eaton.
Little Eaton, sorry, not Long Eaton. Long Eaton's Nottingham. I get those middle.
Yeah.
So Little Eaton. And yeah, obviously you've kind of done stuff around here before moving down to London. So what's happened? How did that work out?
Well, it's a bit different actually. Music didn't land in my life till the age of 23.
Mm-hmm.
I was a pub landlord at the age of 18.
Mm-hmm.
So while everyone was going off to uni and doing apprenticeships and forming bands and whatnot, I was pulling pints. So that was a hugely integral part of my entering adulthood, really.
Mm-hmm.
Days that I recall a lot in my songwriting now. So towards the end of my pub landlord tenure, I picked up the guitar for the first time. It became an absolute obsession, as it does, and I felt like I found the tool that was going to help me share my stories that were all locked away, and it really did change my life. I made the decision to sell the pub, moved to the other side of the world, age 23, Sydney, Australia. Started my first band out there, had a year in Oz, and a really long story short, moved to London 13 years ago, and that's really where the new version of me, the musical travelling troubadour, was born, really. So it's so special now to be coming back to Derbyshire as this man with 4 albums out who spends the bulk of his life on the road, to be able to share all these stories with people who don't know me or who do know me in a different version, or aspiring musicians who just want to hear stories about how it happened.
It's not too late.
Never.
Never. There's a few people I've spoken to, and they're in their 40s and 50s, and they're going, I think I'm a bit older, maybe.
No.
Like, absolutely not. No, absolutely not.
Never too late.
No. And did you have sort of, going back to the sort of pub landlord days? Did you have music on there? Did you put artists on there, and were they original artists, or were they kind of covers? Or?
We did like kind of blues duo, like jams and stuff. So it was a Sunday afternoon, and it was kind of like Sunday afternoon, everyone in the pub just like soaking up some music, and it was great. And it was my first proper exposure to watching two fellas just playing music really well.
That magic.
Yeah. Actually, I remember the first time I sang to anyone. I jumped up and I sang Wanted Dead or Alive by
Bon beautiful
Jovi.
Yeah banger.
It was the first time anyone heard me sing, and I was always a secret singer, but and then started like these huge Sunday afternoon sing-alongs, which were led by me with a pint in my hand, a cappella doing, we'd go through the whole musical repertoire of life, and pubs, music, they go hand in hand. There's nothing better than singing. It's as simple as that. And then I didn't start writing songs until I was putting chords together, and that all came together in Australia, because I had to move away to kind of, I don't know, it was reinvent myself, find this creative me, and then it was like a tap. Then
Yeah. And was there kind of like, you say you kind of so you've mentioned blues, you mentioned Bon Jovi, you've always had probably like a guitar thing, like an interest in guitar oriented music. Is that fair to say?
Well, my own sound is, I'm an observational indie folky singer-songwriter, it's I've got 4 albums out in the world. They've all got a very unique story. The one that I've just released last year, Young Old Bloke, was produced by Mick Jones from the Clash.
Brilliant.
It was a wild, but it's basically just come out, but a really mad story. That was intended to be my first album.
Yeah.
I was a younger waiter in London, working in a restaurant called the English Restaurant. A really long story short, I ended up on the radar of Mick Jones from the Clash, and they pulled me into appearing in this series that they were doing for Sky Arts called Rotten Hill TV, and it was all these music icons, and they wanted me to do a version of Ooh La La by The Faces. It was all shot in a boxing ring set outside Mick's studio, directed by Julian Temple, the iconic film director. And it was the start of so many things. The next thing I know, I'm on a plane to Venice, flying with Mick Jones from the Clash, playing in Vivaldi's courtyard as he's exhibiting all this stuff that he was collected from his many musical endeavours. And I was opening this event. There was loads of icons there. We get back, it's 2016, and Mick was like, look, let's make a record. So I entered this crazy juxtaposition where by day I'm making coffee, and by night I'm in the studio with rock and roll royalty. Glen Matlock from the Sex Pistols on bass. He's mad, and I got this record done. I was so happy. I was living my dreams, but I had some management in inverted commas looking after me at the time, and they really screwed me over. So yeah, it's a bit of a sad story of how you have to be very careful in this game.
Yeah.
So I lost this record essentially, and
so it was tracked, it was recorded, it was
all done, yeah.
Everything was ready to rock. It was there a label involved? Was there a publisher?
They set the label up, and they claimed ownership of the recordings.
Oh gosh, so they shelved it.
And I absolutely got into this situation which I had no idea I was entering.
Yeah.
So
you assume good intentions, right?
Exactly.
You always, in the music industry, you always assume good intentions.
Yeah. So yeah, that kicked me down big style, and then a very good person who I really appreciate, a guy called Danny Watson, who always had his eye out for me. He rings me up one day and he's like, it's 2018. I've had a year of kind of like, falling out of love with it all.
It's gonna have an impact, isn't it, that?
Yeah, it did big time. But, I got this phone call and he says, look, Danny Goffey from Supergrass is doing this festival in his garden, and it's going to be pretty wild. It's there's Ed Harcourt playing, Brett Anderson from Suede, there's Carl Barat, Libertines, and there's a slot there for you, and it'll be a great community to get into, and blah blah blah. I leapt at the chance, and it changed the course of things. So me and Ed Harcourt would get on like a house on fire. He keeps me up drinking till 6 a.m, drinking moonshine or something awful, and we start making a record together, and it was the start of the new version of me, the stripped back, honest, observational singer-songwriter. And I ended up doing 3 albums with Ed, each album campaign bigger than the last.
Yes.
Which got me to a point.
Ed, I've never met Ed, but I from what I've heard about him, he's someone who's really passionate about bringing people along.
Oh, he's a legend.
about spotting something and going, right, we're on something together.
Oh,
you know, we're doing this thing together now.
Yeah,
That's it.
he's a total legend, mate.
Yeah.
He's an incredible artist himself, esteemed producer for a reason. He's just a great bloke. So yeah, like I say, each album bigger than the last, lots of touring. It's got me to a place where, you know, for 7 years now I've been self-employed doing this troubadourery of a life of me and my guitar and the Peugeot 108 and this constant touring and up and down the country just all the while, and it's a wonderful,
brilliant
life.
Yeah. It sounds, I mean, you can see it in you. You obviously love it, right?
Yeah,
you absolutely love it.
What's not to love, right?
Yeah. It's amazing, and I think that I'd really like to sort of. So, did you get your album back?
Yeah, so
obviously, it's released now. It's out now. Is it the same tracks? Is it the same track listing order, that kind of thing?
We finally, you know, after years and years and years of just waiting it out, me and my publisher, we did get these recordings back.
So it had like a sunset on it. It had a timeout.
It was just kind of, what are you doing, guys? Kind of situation. And finally, last year, I released this record, which was, like I say, meant to be my first album, which came out as, you know, I would call it like a prelude now, because my fan base knew me for my 3 albums. Yeah. So this is like this is what I used to be like. Yeah. So it came out last year. I toured it in the autumn, and this next run of shows is an extension, really, because I got told off by lots of fans up and down the country of places that I didn't go to. So there's like 20 places up and down the country, from actually starting on the Isle of Man down to the Isle of Wight. There's a couple of Scotland dates and all over England, including Burton Library on the 30th of May, Saturday the 30th of May. Everyone, it's going to be a great night. You've got to get your tickets. Do it right now. But yeah, and they've got a little support tour in the middle of my dates with Burton Lads, the Leisure Society as well. Who I've supported in the past, and they are brilliant.
They're incredible. I mean, they played
Unbelievable.
Sonic Boom 2025 in the Town Hall. So I played a band called Riding the Low. We played and they played. And honestly, it's in that setting, you know, it was the most beautiful sounding music I think I've ever heard in there. You know, they are so good, so pretty. You know, it's really pretty music. Yeah. So you know, you really care about songwriting. You really care about the craft of the song, and you can hear that. There's a lot of storytelling. There's a lot of reality in your songs. I can, if it's okay for me to comment in that sort of way. And there's actually kind of like from where you'd expect, you know, a troubadour, a singer-songwriter, you know, someone who kind of predominantly stands with an acoustic guitar. It would have that, you know, prettiness, that kind of Leisure Society thing, you know, that whole sort of songwriter thing. Yours is a bit grittier. There's something else going on with your music, and it's interesting that the kind of names that you mentioned have kind of picked up on you in terms of, you know, the guys from the Clash, the Pistols, you know, obviously Ed, and you know, they're similar, aren't they? There's music, but there's a little bit of something else in there that's really important, and I'd love to know where that comes from for you. You know.
I guess it all comes down. Life's been quite interesting in many ways. I was poorly as a child, so that kind of injected an early kind of traumatic element to my life. Nearly died a few times. We'll be here for hours if we start talking about proper poorly. Yeah. 2 years in Great Ormond Street. So that added which added a kind of added life appreciation, really. Being a pub landlord for 5 years, you know, not a lot you don't see in the pub. You know, it's a world which is drowned in, you know,
a lot of stories to tell.
When
communities come together,
as well.
Yeah.
You meet a lot of, everyone has so many stories behind the eyes, and you kind of just get into that world, and it's, you know, everyone's got their own world going on. and just tapping into that. So yeah, a lot of my songs are character based. There's a vignette of society, or me just taking a deep plunge in my my own life, or it's a groundedness, a reality, like you say. And and the thing is, as you say, it's it's not the pub landlord that took you around the world. It was the storytelling, and it was the music, and it was the ability you've got to hold an audience in a room, right? Because that's a skill. That's not something that you have to develop that over time, and it's something where from seeing you play on different things, you hold the room. Yeah, that kind of comes just from. Yeah, it's just years of development, really. I mean, I can't tell you how many gigs I've played.
Yeah.
Being a pub landlord, you're the conversation starter.
Yeah.
So, that I owe a lot to those days. But yeah, I mean, I know some people who still struggle a lot with shyness and nerves and stuff, and there's only one way to combat it, and it's just kind of constantly putting yourself in front of people.
Yeah, absolutely, totally. Face the fear.
Yeah,
face the you got to. So I want to ask you what sort of standout moments have you had on your journey so far? Because obviously it's a journey that you're on. There's 4 albums. It feels like there's probably going to be more albums coming.
Yeah.
But where you are right now, what are the sort of some of the main highlights that you've experienced so far? Because we've had a couple of the bad moments, but it'd be nice to hear some of the great, because there's some great stuff.
There's some mad stuff.
Yeah.
5 Glastonburys.
Yeah.
Each one has been better than the last, and right up to last year's, where there was 5,000 people. It was 1 in, 1 out. It was unbelievable. Like, it's just you.
Which space were you playing last year?
Strummerville.
Okay, yeah.
Just iconic. It was.
Yeah,
with Olivia Dean and stuff. It was mad. Played the London Palladium. Shepherd's Bush Empire. I've played on the television a few times. The One Show. Sunday Morning Live.
Sunday Morning Breakfast.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember what it was called.
Sky News.
Yeah.
A lot of touring.
Yeah.
Lots of big radio, lots of sessions on Radio X, Radio 2, 6 Music. Just kind of so many things from the bucket list, which
and that's a key point that I wanted to ask you, is that how do those bucket listings go from being a pipe dream and in the brain to actual lived reality? And that you've played Glastonbury, you've played Strummerville, you played the One Show, you've been on Radio X, because that's a list of a lot of people's dreams. A lot of people's dreams.
I think it's the birthplace of it. Like, the starting point is believing that you can do it.
Yeah.
And not being like naive and thinking, like, you've always got to work on yourself.
Yeah.
You've got to, you have to graft. Like, you got to outwork everyone.
Yeah.
I don't wake up and just kind of swan about and
wait for the world to come to you.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like outrageous amounts of hours that you pump in for a long time for nothing. It's I've pulled countless pints, made countless coffees. I've worked in call centres and sold septic tanks and done the do. Like, you got to do the shift, and but always with that kind of the goals in mind. Like, this is part of a bigger picture. The path is never straight. You got to just graft and dream. And I always say, like, every day, just make that little incremental step towards, tick off one extra thing. It's just like, you're never going to go to the sky in a day. It's like step by day. And, 2 years later, you're going to be way more developed. 5 years later, you're going to be really close to the
And it's interesting
goals.
To look back, isn't it? To look at where you were then, because even when you're in that, you as a music, you're always looking at the next thing, and that it's not good enough. I want this now. I want this now. I want this, and nothing's ever quite the top of the pinnacle, and that's good because it keeps you going. It keeps you working. It keeps you your kind of ethic and ethos in how you operate there. But at the same time, it's really important to look back and go to. I've actually done the thing that I wanted to do 10 years ago or 5 years ago or whatever. Yeah,
it's you got to give yourself a pat on the back, and also just in general, like it's you get these kind of like victories, but it's the journey itself. Like it's such a great journey, the musical journey. It's like it's the best way to go around the country and beyond. It's like you get to meet so many great people. Not only because by and large, most musical and creative people are great people and are there to support and everything else. But people that go to gigs that become your fans and stuff. Everyone's got the great people. Right? You get to connect with them and share evenings together, which live long in people's memories and stuff.
Yeah. And you mentioned there the sort of people that have come on the journey with you. You've mentioned Ed. You mentioned the guys from the Pistols and the Clash earlier. Won't mention the label and the managers, but is there a machine around you now? Is there a kind of like a team around you as an entity, as an artist?
Well, I've got my publisher. I've had an agent for the last few years who I actually just recently did let go. She's been great, but sometimes you got to change things up a bit. Yeah. So the team's quite threadbare at the moment. I'm a busy lad. I don't sleep a lot. But when you close one door, you open the door to other stuff. So,
how important was publishing then for your journey? Because your strength is in your song, and it's the songs that need to do the work, right? So,
it's really important. Like, and I say this to any kind of upcoming songwriter, really. You've got to have your house in order. Yeah. So, like, you've got to have all your PRS up to date, all your catalogue registered. Make sure you're registering all your gigs and stuff. And, my publisher, he helps me collect royalties for, I've got 4 albums out there and a few other collabs here and there. And, every penny helps. Yeah. PRS
and it adds
thing.
Up. And absolutely. It adds up. You don't see it in the moment, but once you've done a few things and a few things happen and things add up, it does add up, And
I say this like, on some of the big stages that I have played, one of those being the London Palladium, you go and register your gig, your set and stuff, and
it's a few quid.
Really handsome paycheck for that one. Which, like,
as a songwriter, as a songwriter, not for it being a performer, but because it was your songs being performed in the space. And you just wake up one day and you go, "Wow,
blimey, it is possible." You kind of, So having the publisher is great because he's there to organise royalty collections and make sure that a stone isn't unturned. But regardless, we have great things like PRS that you can register all your catalogue yourself, and there are things like Centric, which I know that some self-releasing artists use, that they seem to be really doing good stuff as well. So
So if you are someone who is working independently from a sort of label perspective or distribution perspective, the tools are there for you to get your music out in the world. Absolutely. As a writer, the tools are there for you to collect the royalties as your work gets used. Fantastic. So I think, just to sort of begin to close things, like what's in the future for you? Where if you've achieved these amazing things, there's a great support kind of tour coming. There's some phenomenal headline gigs that you're doing. What is there a stone that's unturned yet? Is there somewhere where you think I'd actually really love to achieve this?
Well, the immediate future looks like I'm going up and down Dale for the next few months, right up till July. Loads of shows around the country, one of them being Saturday the 30th of May at Burton Library.
You've done this before.
So do get your tickets. They're £7.50.
Yeah.
There's 2 great opening acts. Carl North, Dear Lily, going to be wicked. It's, dare I say, it's cheap.
It is.
Get yourselves in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bring your own drink.
Yeah.
And then after this run, I do have some new stuff in the works.
Great.
I would love to start sharing that stuff before the year's out. An album won't come out this year, but that would be something for next. There's always stuff on the bucket list, you know, the Royal Albert Hall and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, just keep the fire burning, the journey moving, and just seeing where it all takes me, really.
Roses in the vase, lovingly encumbered, days are looking numbered, sent from afar, no more. Waiting by the door, another day, another empty door. Don't forget me, please. Don't forget me, please. Made my peace, but I'm on my knees, hanging on your deliveries. Set me free. Don't forget me, please. I'm sat on the edge of my sanity, scrolling through the memories that light up the dark and before. I know the battle falls, always prettier in pink, and as the cooler fades, I cling to you. Don't forget me, please. Made my peace, but I'm on my knees, hanging on your deliveries. Set me free. Don't forget me, please. Don't forget me, please. Made my peace, but I'm on my knees, hanging on your deliveries. Set me free. Don't forget me, please. Don't forget me, please. Please.